the country for Zee Mart in Indonesia. We have just expanded into Indonesia. We're actually a Singapore company. Our core business is actually F&B procurement. We have a tech platform where we enable restaurants, F&B businesses, basically anyone with a kitchen, anyone who can sell to consumers in the HoReCa industry, okay, to actually save more money through smarter purchasing. Okay, so I'll just give the introduction of what Zee Mart is as a business, so that you guys, I mean, we have this opportunity, so I can give you a very clear picture of what we do as a business and essentially what our problem statement is. Okay, so just some key facts about the F&B industry in Indonesia. It is a very, very, very big industry. Okay, based on Euromonitor, you guys have more than 200,000 restaurants in the entire country. 200,000. Yeah. I mean, that's according to Euromonitor, but I have also questioned those statistics. I felt that, I guess they weren't able to track a lot of warung and a lot of smaller eateries, okay? But I guess on the established small, medium-sized chains, it's about 200,000. Okay? This entire industry makes about 6 billion transactions every year, and the transactions add up to the 202 trillion, okay, spent purely on procurement. Okay, so your cost of ingredients in total is roughly 202 trillion. Okay? So this is the problem in this industry. When you go to a restaurant, the front of house looks nice. Okay, restaurant looks great. They have a nice point of sale system. Everything looks fine. The food is good. And when you leave the restaurant manager has to deal with this, okay, on the back of house. Okay, the restaurant industry, the F&B industry, is a very old-fashioned and traditional industry, even in Singapore. Okay, even in Singapore, people still order via pen and paper, fax, email, WhatsApp, SMS, and it's very much the same in Indonesia. When chefs and restaurant managers receive invoices, they open the drawer, they put the invoice in, and they close the drawer. At the end of the month, they open the drawer, take out a whole stack of invoices, and they do data entry. Okay? When we've gone for meetings with our customers, we see that happening all the time. You walk in at maybe 3, 4 p.m. where there's very few customers. The restaurant manager is sitting there with a stack of files doing data entry. Okay? So it's a very old-fashioned industry. Okay, and that's where we're trying to solve. Okay, the front of house looks great. We want the back of house to look as great as the front of house. Okay, the restaurant managers are using all kinds of tools, social media, reservation tools to drive customers to their restaurants. What we want to do is we want to enable the restaurant owners, okay, to understand what their operations look like. We want the restaurant managers to be able to have a more streamlined process that they essentially can use. Okay, so a couple of industry and user behavior insights. Currently, between 25 to 40% of revenue is actually spent on food supplies. Okay, the F&B industry is actually the only industry that procures on a daily basis. Okay, it's the only industry where every single day they buy something from the suppliers. Okay, in Indonesia, an interesting statistic is there is actually a very high closure rate of F&B and restaurants and cafes. 70% of F&B outlets don't actually last beyond 3 to 5 years, either because of revenue reasons or they cannot keep up with the cost. Okay? And there is a very complex supplier environment in Indonesia. So when we first arrived in Indonesia, we did not understand this complex supplier environment. In Singapore, it's a very simple environment. Singapore is a very small country. We have maybe 10 farms in the whole of Singapore. Okay? And even if your farm is a fish farm offshore, it takes at most 1 hour for you to deliver the fish to the restaurant. So there is only a supplier and a buyer in Singapore. So when we arrived in Indonesia, we realized this is not the case. The farm can sell directly to the restaurant if it's near enough. The farm can sell to an agent, who can sell to a distributor, who will sell to another distributor, who will sell to the pasar, and then the restaurant goes to the pasar to buy the ingredients. So it's a very complex supplier environment in Indonesia. Okay? So with that, we do understand a little bit of the market. What we aim to do is our solution is actually a regional solution. Okay, as Lydia has mentioned, Singapore is a very small country. It's very difficult for businesses to scale there. So our solutions and our business is actually a regional business. Okay, so what we aim to be is we aim to be the Alibaba of the F&B industry. Everyone knows what Alibaba is, right? Right. Okay, Alibaba is the Chinese procurement platform for raw materials. So we want to be the B2B platform for buyers and suppliers in F&B procurement and sourcing. Okay. So what we do is we have our product is actually an application. Okay. It's an application that allows for pain-free ordering. Okay, where suppliers, buyers can basically order from suppliers through a mobile application. Okay, we basically onboard all of the restaurant suppliers onto the mobile application so that they don't have to email, call, WhatsApp, fax each and every individual supplier. They just order through the application as if you're online shopping. Okay, application sends the order, the PO, directly to all the suppliers. Okay, and we also allow them to manage costs. Okay, we can actually identify total spending per supplier or item or category of items. So the big problem is that F&B owners are not the one running the business. If you know any F&B owners, you can ask them this: what is your cost? I'm very sure they cannot tell you what is the cost. They will need to, let me ask my restaurant manager, let me ask my chef. Okay? So the big problem is that in many countries, the chef and the restaurant manager, they don't really care about cost. That's not their KPI. What they want to do is they want to cook nice food. Delivery comes on time. Operations are not interrupted. And sometimes you get kickbacks from suppliers. So as an owner, you only want two things. You want to increase revenue or you want to cut costs. Okay? Your interest is profit. That's what you want to achieve, right? So as owner, you want to be able to track your spending. But if invoices are only keyed in at the end of the month and passed on to the finance, it's going to take you 2 months before you receive any kind of financial report, okay, as the owner. So with the application, with the Zee Mart application, what we do is we track spending in real time based on the orders. So basically this means that I can generate a report for you immediately. Okay? And every time I want to see how much I'm spending per category, it's all tracked by the orders that your restaurant manager is making directly to the supplier. Okay, so just a few features of our application. We can buy orders very quickly. We can create repeat new orders. We can order more than 1 unit of measurement. So in Indonesia, you can order chicken by ekor. It doesn't need to be kilo. It doesn't need to be pieces or cartons. Okay. We are able to see available delivery dates and cutoff times. So depending on supplier, they have different cutoff times. If you order beyond a certain time, they're not going to deliver it to you. Okay. So as I mentioned, there is a lot of data, okay, that we provide. I think we are moving into a very increasingly data-heavy industry. So what this means is that, especially for younger owners, okay, they want to see data. Okay, they're very interested in knowing how they're performing. It's almost like a game, right? You're chasing numbers all the time. So we can see spend by SKU supplier category. You can go into the details of your spending. You can track your SKU price changes. So one of the things that we found out is that suppliers, when they change the price, when they adjust the price, they don't tell you, okay, if you're a restaurant owner. And as a restaurant owner, you won't see the price until you actually look at the invoice. Because you have so many invoices to deal with, okay, and the increase in price can be very minor, month on month. But as it increases, it actually accumulates. So what we do is we track the increase in prices through invoices. Okay? So we also deliver weekly email reports to administrators as well as restaurant owners. Okay, so in the entire ecosystem, Zee Mart application is in the procurement piece. Okay, so we are a platform, okay, where you can procure F&B supplies. Okay, we place orders, we digitize the invoices, we track spending. Okay, so other problems and other challenges that restaurant owners face is basically sourcing. So buyers, it's very difficult to find new suppliers. Okay, It's a long search process. You have no visibility on the buyers, on the suppliers.